Hello everyone. Abhi we have studied about the kingdom plant, animal. So now we'll study about the certain categories, certain subgroups of the vertebra group. Vertebrata was involved into they had a vertebral column, different tissues, body tissues were there, notochord was there. So they were grouped into six classes: cyclostomata, Pisces, amphibia, reptilia, aves and mammals. So first we'll discuss about cyclostomata. What is cyclostomata? These are jawless vertebrates which are characterized by having an elongated eel-like body, circular mouth, slimy skin and are scaleless. No scales are present on their body. Scales means no lines are present on their body. Are ectoparasites or borers of other vertebrates, like they feed on other organisms. For example, Petromycin, myxine. So this is the simplest classification in the vertebra group. Second we have is Pisces. So Pisces, all the fishes that exist in our environment, all are involved in the group Pisces. All are included in Pisces. These are aquatic animals because fishes live in water. Their skin is covered with scales or plates. Obtain oxygen dissolved in water by using gills. They have gills on their body through which they breathe in water. Body is streamlined so that they can cut the water stream and move forward. They have muscular tail for movement. These are cold-blooded animals. Have only two chambers unlike humans which have four chambers. They lay eggs and their skeleton is entirely made of cartilage. No bones are present in the body of the Pisces. Sharks and some are with both bone and cartilage, example tuna and rohu. So all the fishes are included in the group Pisces. These are cold-blooded animals and they have two chambers. So next we have is amphibia. Pisces had scales on their body, but amphibia do not have scales on their body. They have mucus glands in their skin. These are three-chambered heart. Pisces had two-chambered. Now amphibia have three-chambered heart. They breathe either through lungs or gills because they stay both on land and water. So when they stay on the land, they breathe through lungs, and if they stay in water, they breathe through gills. They lay eggs in water, and when they have to hibernate these eggs, they come on the land to germinate them. Example: frog, salamanders, toads. Fourth is reptilia. Reptilia are also cold-blooded animals like amphibians. They have scales on their body and they breathe through lungs because they generally stay on the land. While most have a three-chambered heart, but crocodiles is one exception which have a four-chambered heart. They lay eggs with tough coverings. They do not lay eggs in water unlike amphibians. They lay eggs on the land itself. Example: snake, lizard, crocodile, turtles. They are all included in the group Reptilia. Aves. All the birds are included in the group aves. These are warm-blooded animals and have four-chambered heart. Generally, the birds lay eggs and the outside covering of feather and two forelimbs are modified for flight because the birds have to fly, so the first two forelimbs are modified. They breathe through lungs. Next category we have is mammals, and mammals is cold-blooded animals. They have four-chambered heart, have mammary glands for the production of milk to nourish their young ones. See, mammals are the only organisms which have mammary glands to feed their young ones. Skin has hair as well as sweat and oil glands. They produce live young ones. Some exceptions are there in the group Mammalia, which are platypus and echidna, which lay eggs, and kangaroo give birth to very poorly developed young ones, so that this is the reason why kangaroos hold their babies in their wombs. Some questions are there on page 94. How is Porifera different from Coelenterata? See, Porifera was the first division of Plantae kingdom. They were cellular level of organization, whereas Coelenterata is the second level, which had tissue level of organization. Organs were divided into tissues. No division of labor takes place in Porifera, whereas Coelenterata some division of labor is taking place. do not have coelom in porifera but have coelom in coelenterata. How do annelid animals differ from arthropods? Annelida has no skeleton, whereas Arthropoda has an exoskeleton present on their body. Annelida body is segmented into rings, whereas Arthropods body is segmented into head, thorax and abdomen. Annelida are hermaphrodite and Arthropod sexes can be separate or can be on the same animal. Next, difference between amphibians and reptiles. So we had studied amphibians, the skin is moist and soft. Skin is hardened in reptilia. Amphibians can jump, but reptilia moves by crawling. Amphibia live in both water as well as land, but reptilia live generally on the land. So they breathe through lungs. And amphibian breathe through gills or lungs because they stay on both water as well as land. Difference between aves and mammal group. So aves are the bird and mammals are we human beings, cows, dogs, cats. Their body is covered with hairs, but aves body is covered with feathers. Beak is present and teeth are absent in aves group but teeth is present in mammal group. Hollow bones for flying, but mammals do not have any hollow bones. Aves have streamlined body, but mammal body is not streamlined. So next I'll explain the flow diagram of the animal kingdom. Animals, the cellular level of organization was porifera. First classification was porifera, and when cells divided into tissues, no body cavity between epidermis and gastrodermis, pseudosolon was present and coelomate. Coelomate means their internal body structure cavity is there. So Coelenterata platyhelminthes, no body cavity, pseudosolum is nematoda and coelomate. Mesodermal cells from a single cell during growth of embryo involves Annelida, mollusk and Arthropoda. Coelom formed from pouches pinched from the epiderm. So no notochord. Notochord was a support system running from their nervous system to the gut, which gave them support. And no notochord were present in Echinodermata, but notochords were present. They were termed as chordata, and chordata were of two types, protochordata and the vertebra group. Vertebra group were divided into 6 types: Cyclostomata, Pisces, amphibia, reptiles, aves and mammals. So now we have nomenclature. See, what was the purpose of putting a nomenclature on any of the organisms? We cannot define each and every organism by different names. See, I can name an elephant by as a name elephant also, hathi also. Different people have different terms for each and every organism. Every language has different terms. But nomenclature was defined as scientific name was unique and can be used to identify anywhere in the world. If an organism in anywhere in the world can define a specific name, a systematic naming of living organisms, then the nomenclature was come into existence. So there is a need for systematic naming of living organisms. It was introduced by Carolus Linnaeus. Certain conventions are followed while writing the scientific name. Name of the genus begins with a capital letter, and the name of the species under the genus begins with a small letter. When printed, scientific name is given in italics when printed on the paper or the book, and when written by hand, genus and species name have to be underlined separately. So there are some NCERT questions. What are the advantages of classifying organisms? We have already done this question. For better categorization of living beings, easier study for scientific research and better understanding for human relationship and dependency on other organisms. We'll classify organisms, then only we'll study them better. How would you choose between two characteristics to be used for developing a hierarchy? See, hierarchy depends on the features, their specific body design. So each characteristic of an organism is used to categorize whether will belong to this group or that group. So for example, vertebral column in human beings can be taken under vertebra. 4 limbs are present under tetrapoda. Mammary glands are only present in the mammals. If forelimbs are modified into wings, they are considered as apes. So different categories are there, different characteristics that we can use as a hierarchy in classifying organisms. Explain the basis for grouping organisms into 5 kingdoms. So number of cells, layer of cells, triploblastic, biplastic, mode of nutrition, whether they are autotrophic or heterotrophic, level of organization, and presence or absence of cell wall. Plant has a cell wall but animal do not. What are the major division in the Plantae? So Plantae had 5 divisions: Thallophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta, Gymnosperms and Angiosperms. So what were their basis for classification? Thallophyta had a thallus-like body. Bryophyta body was divided into leaf and stem. Pteridophyta was further divided into root, stem and leaf. Gymnosperms means seed one bearing naked, and angiosperms were seed bearing covered seeds, which were further divided into 2 parts: monocotyledons and dicotyledons. How are the criteria for deciding division in plants different for the criteria in deciding animals? See, animals are different. They have presence or absence of wings, 4 legs, coelom. These are all in animals. But plants, they see whether seeds are covered or not, whether seeds are there, how many seeds are there. If the thallophytes are different from biophytes, their division is different as compared to animals. Explain how animals in vertebrata are classified into further subgroups. Animals were classified into 2 types: Pisces and Tetrapoda. Tetrapoda, that means they have 4 limbs for modification. Pisces were only animals that live in water and they have a streamlined body for movement. Tetrapoda had 4 limbs for locomotion, and that were amphibia, reptilia, aves and mammals. Thank you. If you have any doubts, please do write in the comment section, and please do subscribe my channel. Thank you.